I'm James Carey, Distinguished Professor of Entomology here at UC Davis, and co-author of the book titled Biodemography, An Introduction to Concepts and Methods, published in 2020 by Princeton University Press. My co-author and colleague is University of Virginia Professor and Biology Department Chair Deborah Roach. My overarching goal in this video is contained in the title of my talk, to show you how video has brought voice, complementarity, and multilingual reach to our biodemography book. I have organized my presentation as follows. First, I will provide background on our book. Second, I will describe my overall production strategy, including my pre-production, production, and post-production phases. Next, I will show specific examples of this video content. And last, I will discuss what I learned and ideas for the future. At the very end of this video, I show a table with all the equipment and software I used in the project and their costs. I will start by giving background on our book, starting with the cover, of which we designed and shows the center picture of the perennial plant Plantago lanceolata that symbolizes the biology in biodemography, and the iconic Lotka population model that symbolizes the demography. The book is 470 pages in length and contains 670 references, 373 equations, 164 figures, 98 tables, 11 chapters, and 4 appendices. I produced a short 90-second trailer video on our book that Princeton posted on their book landing page for our book, and that summarizes its content that I will show next. Biodemography is a new branch of population sciences that integrates concepts and models from both demography and biology. The field includes the use of fundamental methods from human demography, such as life tables to compute life expectancy, and mathematical approaches to study convergence to the stable age distribution. Biodemography also includes approaches used in population biology, ranging from experiments on fruit fly health spans to matrix models to explore the dynamics of stage structure in killer whale populations. Finally, biodemography includes entirely new areas such as the conservation demography of endangered species and cohort backcasting in forensic entomology used for solving crimes. Through biodemography, the broader parent field of demography itself can be better seen as the true interdiscipline that it is. It is this interdisciplinarity concept that on one hand unites and on the other hand animates our new book on biodemography by Princeton University Press. As you can see, Biodemography is a professional book with content that required considerable effort to present clearly in print, and as you can imagine, was no less challenging to present in video. But my approach to this video project was not in any way an attempt to make a video equivalent to our print book. Rather, my intent was to complement and extend its content. Consider the traits of the two types of mediums, textbook, that is print or digital, versus video. Books can include fine details such as sidebars, worked examples, and important minutiae. Extensive bibliography such as ours with almost 700 references, the capability of readers to scroll, scan, and peruse, and the option of writing notes in the margins and highlighting text. In contrast, video can have talking heads, content animations, ease of updating and adding new content, and captioning and subtitling. Having available both textbook and video creates a synergy and complementarity of content, since neither alone can provide everything as shown in this table. But having both together then raises the question of how to categorize what the end product of my video production efforts are. This book-video combination would not make an audiobook, as in a book read aloud, nor a video book as a standard term for online training videos. Neither would it be a video with a book guide, more like the commercial company Great Courses, which offers a guidebook written expressly for the videos. However, I think with production of these videos, Dr. Roach and I now have a book with a guided video. I approached the project as a film production project with 3 phases, including pre-production, production, and post-production, with each divided in subcategories. I started with pre-production, including the initial need to decide on what instructional video type to use, how to template, and the need to both script and storyboard. My first step in this pre-production phase was to decide which of the 5 types of instructional videos would best serve my purpose. These included the light board, the whiteboard, the handwriting board, the full screen lecture, and the talking head. I decided that the talking head model was the best fit for my purposes of overall succinctness and efficiency, for presenting the qualitatively different types of content of text, tables, figures, and equations, for including my visual and audio presence, and for captioning and subtitling. My next steps were to develop storyboard and storytelling concepts based on the 4 types of content in our book, and at the same time write script for narration. Storyboarding and scripting are inextricably linked both within and between each. That is, the sequence of content presentation determines how the story unfolds, and therefore both the narration and the associated visuals must be presented synchronously. Although the book itself provided the content and informed my decision on the presentation sequence, collectively the scripting, storyboarding, and slide preparation were by far the most time-consuming and challenging components of this video project. My next task in pre-production was the creation of templates designed to ensure both visual and sequential consistency in the videos covering all chapters and sections of the book. I organized all video content similar to those for the 5 video modules in Chapter 1. That is, I needed 3 templating concepts. One for introducing each of the 11 chapters, an appendix that contained the collection of video modules. Second, for starting each of the modules within a chapter. And third, for the content within each of the modules. Here's what I settled on. At the chapter level, I used the first 2 slides to reintroduce myself and affiliation and to show the chapter and titles. In the next slide, I again had an image of our book. Then the next several slides, I showed screenshots of the table of contents, ending at the chapter whose content the video covered. Then the last slides included a table containing a listing of all the modules and their durations. I used 2 templated slides at the beginning of each within chapter module, the first of which showed the module number and topic or title, and the second of which showed the location of the content in the book using, again, the table of contents. I used the picture-in-picture model for presenting the content within the modules as shown here. I use animation frequently in all of my presentations, including in our book, to control audience attention, direct viewers' gaze, enhance the level of engagement, and to populate and declutter slides. Just as templates provide visual congruency for transitioning to each chapter and section, as well as to present the content in my video, systematic and judicious use of animation techniques throughout provides a dynamic congruency. It is inconsistent with best practices to, for example, fly in text one time and fade it in the next, or to use all types of animations for the sake of animations rather than for the sake of communication. Therefore, I identified a subset of animations in the 4 basic categories of PowerPoint of entrance, exit, emphasis, and motion paths that I stuck with throughout my video production project. I use 6 basic animations to enter or exit content in the vast majority of animations, including wipe in, wipe out, fly in, fly out, appear, disappear, fade in, fade out, float in, float out, wheel in, wheel out. I used the following 4 animations for emphasis, including grow and shrink, pulse, font color, and line color. And I used custom motion path for the virtually all of my animations that required movement. For example, combination animations included flip, shrink and move, spotlight, crosswire, and masking, and spotlight, crosswire, masking, and zoom. Example content animation from the book includes equation and text presentation, table with details, dense table with computations, matrix model, and figure. This ends my description of the pre-production phase of my book video recording project. As you will see, relatively speaking, this phase was by far the most difficult and challenging. Next, I will describe my production process when, as the producer, director, and scriptwriter, I became the talent. The production involves 2 steps beyond setting up my office studio as a recording studio, including first recording the narration and talking head, and second recording the slides that are synced with the narrative. This shows my office studio with lights and teleprompter, including the webcam at the back, that captures through two-way mirror the video image of me talking. This is shot from the front. You see the Yeti blue microphone on my adjustable stand and the lighted bookshelves I used for background. The recording looks like this with the slide and picture-in-picture of me narrating the slides. Additional details on production include I used mornings to narrate and record when my voice was strongest and my energy highest. I made sure that I had the same appearance, that is, a shirt, for all modules within a chapter. I did trial runs, that is, practice for the narration. I sought good enough but not perfection, so that I'd pause and redo some of the content while recording. These can be edited out later. The post-production phase was relatively straightforward, including editing, adding call-outs and sometimes music where appropriate, rendering the recordings into a movie, that is MP4 files, and then the creation of the overall chapter playlist. This shows Camtasia video editing software with the editing screen, the media, and the tracks with the media to be sequenced, edited, and/or call-outs and music added. Next, I will show examples of video content from this book recording project. In this module of Chapter 3 on mortality, Module 3.5, I will describe mortality models used in demography, including why they are important and 7 of the best known ones. Thus, Lx equals the exponent of the summation of mu x's from 0 through x as given here. The force of the Homo sapiens stage, the changes that occurred include extended longevity, menopause, pair bonding, child division of labor, family. The reproductive years start at menarche, after which a woman forms a union, that is, marries, and becomes at risk for childbearing until the onset of menopause. Here are the video module interim statistics with chapter number in this column, topic the next column, and total minutes for each of the chapters in the third column. So far, I've recorded a total of 7.7 hours of video. These 7.7 hours are distributed across modules as shown here. We have module duration in minutes from 1 to 15 minutes in the x-axis and the number of modules for each of these times on the y-axis. I have a total of 63 modules recorded so far, the mean length of which is 7.2 minutes. These range from 3 to 15 minutes, with chapter totals averaging slightly over 50 minutes. Although I have several more chapters in our book on which I still need to produce videos, once I finish, I am planning to explore different ways to extend the reach of our book through the use of video. I demonstrate the possibilities next with selected segments of an instructional video I produced for one of my classes, in which I explain the difference between two life table parameters, but with added subtitles and speech in foreign languages. In this model, I provide a metaphorical explanation for distinguishing both conceptually and analytically between the life table parameters Qx and Dx.
Der Unterschied zwischen Qx, der Sterbewahrscheinlichkeit im Intervall x bis x1, und der x, dem Anteil der Kohortentodesfälle im Alter x.
Результат каждого вращения определяет долю оставшихся денег, которая будет переведена со счета.
इसके बाद शेष $85 का 30% या अतिरिक्त 25 डेबिट किया जाता है
因此，剩余$25的85%的倒数第二次旋转等于
So we see that we have started with the $100 in the Alive account at The carry-away message is this. The value of QX is an increasing proportion of an ever-decreasing pot of money, the outcome of which is a DX, which is to say, with each new time step. C'est la fin de ce module.
I will close out this presentation with a few brief comments on lessons learned, followed by a wrap-up. The carry-away messages for me in this work in progress are, first, the time investment. I estimate the time required to produce 1 minute of video requires 30 to 40 minutes of effort. In other words, for every 10 minutes of finished video required 300 to 400 minutes, that is to say 5 to 7 hours, for me to produce. Second, the vast majority of this time was invested in careful scripting and storyboarding, both of which are essential for efficiency and succinctness in video production. Even I was surprised when I discovered that I could cover most content within each of my sometimes dense chapters in less than an hour of carefully scripted and storyboarded video. Third, the cost of entry for video production is actually quite low, around $400 low end to a little over $2,000 at the higher end. Fourth, in light of the enormous demand and growth in video in all segments of society, including university instruction, I believe some variation of a video textbook combination will be an increasing part of the future of academic teaching. This brings me to the very end. Although producing these videos has been extremely time-consuming, it has also been hugely rewarding for reasons directly related to the three main concepts in my presentation title. First, video has brought my voice, and by proxy extension, the voice of my co-author Deborah Roach, to readers of our book. Second, video has complemented our book by adding a dynamic dimension to content presentation. Third, video has the potential to extend our book's reach by creating the opportunity to insert subtitles and/or to repurpose in various ways, such as for specialized short courses. I hope that some of the methods and concepts that I have presented here can be used in your own teaching, research, and outreach programs. And for those of you who have written textbooks or who intend to write one, especially the early and mid-career faculty, hopefully this description of my work in progress will lay some of the basic groundwork for you to build on and consider develop your own video production program. Thank you for watching. Please note that as promised, I have a table with a list of equipment, software, and costs that follow.